All right, perfect. So again, first of all, welcome everyone to this session. This is curated to understand how automation will be able to help us enhance the efficiency of Microsoft CSP business. The objective here is to understand what exactly an automation solution does, and besides that, how it helps a business overall to flourish. So let's start with the first topic that we will discuss as far as automation is concerned. That is cost efficiency. Of course, any business provider wants to automate their business. One of the first thing that comes to their mind is the cost. And if we can take this example, the fact that businesses in fact put in a lot of effort and money to develop solutions in-house. Having said that, those solutions can sometimes be insufficient, and of course in a very short span of time can easily be outdated in the current fast pace of cloud technology. So how exactly an automation solution will be cost efficient? So we'll try to understand how you can reduce your operational cost overall, and of course how exactly you will also be able to boost your profit margins when you do streamline your tasks and workflows. So the first thing that always comes to mind is, for any businesses, time is money, irrespective of the fact that whether this is something which you are billing to your respective clients or your employees are billing hours to you as well. Time is always money. And one of the major challenges any CSP partner faces is the complex billing for their respective customers. As it is, it's already complex, and on top of that, Microsoft, of course, as the provider, keeps bringing in new changes, and it becomes very difficult for CSP partners to keep up to that. So eventually it happens that from anywhere between 10 to 20 days is needed by each CSP partner to build their respective customers properly. This of course will also include a lot of back and forth with your respective customers. Now, with an automation solution, you can actually achieve all of this within a span of a few days, a couple of days, in fact. Now, that is exactly the stark difference between having a respective resource, a dedicated resource, do that, which can, in fact, even have some manual errors as well. Where an automation system will take care of the whole process for you with just a few clicks. And that is the reason why minimum effort and maximum return, which will always be provided to you by an automation solution. So it always ensures that the resources that are needed to manage your entire customer operations, with their subscriptions, their licenses, their billing, the data that the reports that the customers require, all of that can be saved. And eventually a certain partner can even end up saving thousands each month. Just imagine any medium-sized CSP partners will need anywhere between 10 to 15 individual resources to manage their respective customers. This is on a lower end of the spectrum. Now, these resources, each of them will of course be billed to the respective partner. Now, in order to reduce this cost, if you use an automation solution, instead of these 10 to 15 resources dedicated to manage customers, you could actually dedicate just maybe 2 to 3 resources. The rest will then be, you will then be able to use these resources to other work which will help you manage or other enhance your overall business and productivity. What the automation solution also provides you is error reduction. Now, this is again a very important aspect. One of the reasons why a lot of CSP partners struggle in their business is because of revenue loss. Now, this revenue leakage can happen from anywhere between invoicing to the wrong pricing to a subscription being not tracked correctly. There can be multiple avenues for this revenue leakage. With an automation solution, everything that happens is kept track of. Besides that, since everything is automated, there is visibility to both the customer and the partner at the same time. There is accountability by both the customer and the partner. This reduces the errors that the customers or maybe the partners may end up making. So usually the process involves a customer reaches out to their respective partner asking for excuse me, asking for a certain license increase or a subscription, a purchase. And there's a lot of back and forth in between. And in some cases, it can happen because of communication error that an incorrect license may be purchased. And more often than not, it is always on the partner's head, wherein the partner ends up bearing the cost. And this is where an automation solution will ensure that such errors are reduced to almost nil. And at the same time, this process will also ensure that not just you as a partner, not just you, even your respective customers end up saving their time. See, the entire process of license administration is complicated because it requires a lot of communications being sent across from the customer to the partner and vice versa. But with an automation solution, you are giving control to your customer. Now, the customer has the ownership of managing their own respective subscriptions. Now they understand that they cannot just purchase anything and everything. They have to double check twice, maybe even thrice, to ensure that they're making the right purchases. And this not just lowers your cost, it also lowers the customer's cost as well. At the same time, what it also does is that it gives a sense of ownership to your customer. When it gives you a sense of ownership to your customer, the customer then starts becoming more and more accountable for their respective subscriptions. They have all the data that they need right in their hand. And as we discussed right at the beginning, the capital required to invest in a new solution, in developing a new solution altogether. Now, this is a very complex, a very a tedious process, wherein although you will probably have a few developers at hand, you'll probably be able to invest in this. But even if the solution is developed, it will be easily outdated within a few months or so. A very simple example of that we can possibly take right now is the upcoming changes with the legacy to NC migration. Let's say you develop a solution as of today, which will work perfectly fine with the current scenario. But come Jan and probably even April, all the catalog will then be updated. All the legacy subscriptions will be migrated to NC. Now, with that, you'll again have to readjust all the catalog, all the pricing accordingly. With an existing automation solution, you are able to set up the whole thing without the resources needed at a fraction of the cost. All right. So now let's understand how exactly would an automation solution help you with productivity. Now, again, another aspect of a business is, of course, to optimize the whole process, ensure that you're making the best out of the resources available to you. So this is something which will also go into the fact that more often than not, the resources are wasted in redundant activities. Now that's where an automation solution comes in, wherein when you optimize the overall process, the automation solution enhances the quality, the speed, and even cost of the whole processes that you've created. And it will also help you align with your business goal and the customer requirements too. When a solution is enabled for your respective customers, this gives them the ability to manage the licenses on their own, again ensuring that they are able to reduce their time, cost, effort, and even escalations to a certain extent. Now, the customers won't have to reach out to you each time asking for license provisioning, subscription purchases, reports, billing data, all of that. They have all of this right at the tip of the fingers. This enables you as a partner to be preventive and even proactive. Now, all the resources that you're able to save, you actually will be able to invest these resources in ensuring that you're able to expand your portfolio, identify more avenues of business. This is again one of the important factors for any CSP business because with the current market, it's extremely competitive. Now, just relying on just the license purchases and sell is not sometimes sufficient enough. So you'll of course be looking into more technology, identify products or even services that you will be able to provide to your respective customers. There is always demand for technology, and at the same time, With the resources that you're able to save, you will be able to dedicate these resources towards research and development of such products and even services that you can offer to your customers. With the help of this, you'll be able to expand your entire business portfolio too. And of course, with all this, time becomes the most valuable commodity. And when you start respecting your customers' time, that is where the business flourishes, because the customer also will start to provide the same amount of respect and same amount of priority to you as well. This creates a very strong mutual relationship on pure professionalism at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, the customer realizes that they are given what they need in order to ensure that they don't have to work through a lot of hours in order to make any license purchases, go through the billing data, go through the invoices, and probably find out errors and so on and so forth. So this creates a very good relationship at the end of the day. This enhances the overall customer experience and ensures that the customers are retained at the end of the day as well. And that brings me to the customer experience aspect. So this is one of the most important aspect. As you can understand, as a CSP partner, retaining a customer is one of the most difficult challenges, because customer have a lot of options in the market to choose from. Now with this, as a customer, if I have to look at any CSP provider as a customer, I will easily be able to identify a few and then probably um, get a quote from multiple customers and pick the one that can give me the best offer. And even a decimal of percentages can sometimes make or break a deal. This is something which is a given fact with the entire CSP business, as to how competitive it is. Now, with an automation solution, you are giving the control in your customer's hand. Now, this gives them a sense of ownership. This gives them a sense of ownership and accountability that, okay, they have something in their respective control. They can make the purchases, they can cancel, they can add or remove the quantities at any point in time as they feel. It also ensures that there's a sense of transparency as well. Now, with this, the customer doesn't have to be dependent each time on the partner. And at the same time, they don't have to be dependent on the partner's report as well. They have all the data for them to access, so that the customer will easily be able to review what they have done, who made the changes. Audit logs is one such which will help the customer to ensure that they may never have to reach out to you for anything related to their respective subscriptions or even their reports for that matter. The detailed consumption and cost reports will be available for the customers to analyze their consumption, their forecast, their consumption as well. The data that the customer will have access to will then enable them to probably even identify what new licenses they may even want to purchase. And at the end of the day, all this ensures that the customer will, of course, have the whole business model aligned with the respective partner as well. And this is not just going to give you the ability to offer competitive pricing for your customer, but at the same time, this is going to provide them with a far valuable experience. And this again in turns become a very strong point to enhance the overall relationship with your respective customer. As a partner, you're able to provide or rather dedicate more time to your customers requirements. An example of this could be, as again as we discussed, that the resources that you're able to save, you'll actually be able to dedicate them towards your respective customers, so that you can understand what more licenses, what new licenses would they be in need of, go through their account and then understand what could be a new opportunity for, as far as business is concerned. You can actually provide them that prospect, and the customer will also be quite interested, because you as a CSP partner have the expertise of managing CSP customers. So they will also understand that this is a proposition that of course is going to work both ways, and that is again another step towards enhancing the overall relationship between the partner and customer. And of course, last but not the least, we will also be able to discuss on precision. Now, this is something which is of very critical importance. As we discussed during the initial stages of this call, is that accuracy leads to a lot of, and when I'm saying accuracy, I'm referring to inaccuracy rather. it leads to a lot of revenue leakage for a lot of CSP business partners. And this is one of a major challenge across the board, not just a certain a direct partner or an indirect partner for that matter. The accuracy of data is something which is very critical. Now, with individual resources, humans managing your respective accounts, your respective customer accounts, and even the billing data, there is always a scope for human error. At the same time, the processes are complicated. The data that each of these resources have to go through are also complicated. And the pricing with the competitive market there is, you can probably even end up having a custom pricing for each of your customers. Keeping a track of all that is a very complex process. Now there is a lot of scope for errors, but on the other hand, if you move towards an automation solution, there is a great potential for you to reduce the errors. So this automation enables you to reduce the dependency on manual work and ensures that your errors with respect to customers billing and of course even license provisioning are reduced. It also provides you a layer of security as well. See, as a solution provider, as a partner, it again becomes important that although you want to enable a certain functionality for your respective customers, but you don't want to give them a free hand too. There are certain customers who will always be difficult in that aspect as well. The solution provides you the ability to monitor, but even like a feature like an approval mechanism comes in quite handy in such scenarios as well, wherein not just you're enabling the license provisioning to your customers, but if they do, you will then be able to approve or reject their respective request depending on verification whether the license that they are requesting for is it a valid purchase. If it is approved or disapproved, accordingly you'll be able to make a necessary decisions. This also enables you to manage complex pricing and accurate invoicing. Now, as we discussed earlier, that the pricing is extremely competitive. So when you have very complex pricing for all your customers, wherein you may possibly have different margin, a custom SKU based margin for each of your customers, in such situations, as a partner, you don't have to go through the whole process of setting up and monitoring and then keeping a track of all the margin for each individual customer. You set it in a solution once and that's it. You have to forget about it. The customer will then be billed accordingly based on the margin that you have set up. And this also ensures that the invoices and the billing data that is generated, it is, excuse me, it is generated accurately, reducing escalations, revenue loss associated with it too. And of course, at the end of the day, if you're using an automation, if you're using an accounting system of your own as well, if you're using your payment gateways, not just the fact that you'll be able to bill your customers through an automation solution, you'll also be able to push this data into the respective payment gateways or accounting systems to ensure that the entire life cycle of customer administration is completed through this. So you'll of course be able to bill your customers, not just bill, you'll also be able to charge your respective customers. That is to ensure that the entire cycle of starting from subscription purchase to billing and even collecting the payment, all that is completed through the automation solution. So let me in this case introduce you to CSP Control Center. This is one of the preferred platform purpose built for Microsoft CSP partners. Now with this, you'll not only be able to use this for a tier one partner, you'll also be able to use this for a tier to a distributor as well. And you'll of course be able to extend this to your respective resellers too. One of the preferred partners, one of the preferred solution across the world. Uh, you can use the links to refer to it. Any questions? All right. So I think since we don't have any further questions, I think we can wrap up this session. And yeah, I think I really appreciate the time of everyone who joined this particular call and hope we'll catch up soon. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.